Hello everyone, Alex here from warrenoffkeys.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the JavaScript eval function to be able to evaluate a string as a piece of JavaScript code. Now, if you don't know exactly why you're going to use this, I would suggest you don't implement this. The reason for this is that if we go into the documentation, which I'll link to in the description, it says that the eval function evaluates JavaScript code represented as a string. And there's a warning here saying that executing JavaScript from a string is an enormous security risk. And that's because people can actually run any type of JavaScript code using just a command. And so we're going to double check that we're actually the only person using our Discord user ID who can run this command. But keep in mind that you have to have a specific reason for using this. And if you're just learning this, go ahead and implement it, but I wouldn't keep it in your code just because there's no real need unless you're going to be actively using it. So to get started, I'm going to make a new file. We'll call this eval for evaluate. And then I'm going to import command. So constant command equals require command. And if you don't have this previous project I'm working on, this is something you'll find in the GitHub repository in the video description. We're importing this very basic command handler here. However, in future videos, I'm going to show you how to write a proper command handler that uses multiple files. But for now, we have this very basic one just for learning. I'm also going to create a constant called owner ID. And I'm also, just as a second security measure, I'm going to create a constant called channel ID. The owner ID will be my Discord user ID, or whatever yours is, and then the channel ID will be a private channel ID. Next, we're going to export a function, so module.exports, and this is going to take in a client as a parameter. If we go into our main file, we can actually import this, so constant eval equals require eval, and then we can call this passing in our client. We can then save this and we can close this. All of our logic will be inside of this file. I'm then going to create a new command. We can pass in the client, and pass in the actual command, which is eval, and we're going to get a callback with a message argument. Now I'm going to go into Discord and I'm going to right click on my user and I'm going to copy my ID. I'm then going to paste it in this string right here for owner ID. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to right click and copy my private tutorial channel. Obviously it's just me and some bots in here, so there's no actual users. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it right here. Now I want to say constant member channel equals message. So message is an object that has member and channel as properties, so we're destructuring those into their own variables. And I want to say if member.id is exactly equal to owner ID and channel.id is exactly equal to channel ID. Then this is the only situation where we are going to run this. So we can add a console log saying it works. And then otherwise we can add a console log saying doesn't work. Now I'm not even going to let the user know that they don't have access to this command because I don't want the user to know that this command even exists. And so I'm not going to say, hey, wrong channel, incorrect user ID. They shouldn't know that this command exists. And so you might even want to rename this as something else. So I'm going to save this. We can run our bot with node index.js. Going into our server here, I can run !eval and it says works. Now if I make another private channel here, where only I can access this, we'll just call this test. If I go in here and I run it, it says doesn't work. And so it's only going to work if I'm running it within the tutorial channel. And so now we can get rid of this else statement. And now we want to get the actual text that we want to actually evaluate in JavaScript. And there's a content property on the message object, which will have everything we need. However, this will include all the text. So if we run something like eval message.channel.name, it'll then have this entire string, and so we need to replace the actual command here. This is because this command handler is very basic and just for basic learning. However, like I mentioned earlier, in the future, I'm going to be showing a more proper command handler that will make us so we don't have to worry about this type of stuff. So we can do constant result equals eval, and we're going to pass in our content.replace, exclamation point eval space. We're going to replace this with nothing. I can then console log the result. And then if we run our bot with node index.js, we see the client is ready. And then we can run eval message.channel.id. And we see it starts with 731. If I am to copy this ID, we see it starts with 731. So this shows that. I can then run message or eval message.channel.name. And it says tutorial. So this is working. And now we want to actually send this result to the user. So we can say channel.send result. And then we can restart our bot and we can do eval message.channel.name. I'm going to use tutorial. So now whatever JavaScript string we pass in here, it'll actually evaluate that and run that code. We could even do things outside of Discord, of course, like 2 plus 2, and it gives us 4, whatever we want to do. However, again, I want to stress the fact that you don't want to be using this on a public bot that is distributed across many different Discords. This is something that should only be used within your own private bot, and I personally wouldn't feel comfortable leaving this command in here, so I'm actually going to disable it, because again, it is a huge security risk. It is important that you read over this here, and it's important that when you're implementing this, you know exactly why you're implementing this, and you have a good understanding of the security risks. Thanks for watching this Discord.js tutorial. If you want to learn more about Discord.js, consider clicking on the playlist you see on your screen now. If you need help, feel free to leave a comment or ask in the Worn Off Keys Discord, which can be found in the video description.